All righty, well, we got a double main event, Brian, and it starts, of course, with the AEW World title. That can't go on last. Don't want to cause chaos, but Bryan Danielson against the Billy Goat, Jack Perry. I'm sorry, the Scapegoat. Again, Danielson. He's incredible with what he does. The people are into him as a person, and he can build a match with anybody. His friends and some of the choices he makes about the wrestling he likes, we can take to issue, but he's a great performer. And then there's Jungle Jackoff. And you can't... Bryan Danielson is not the biggest guy in the world, but he could kick the shit out of this fucking clown in 2 seconds if he wanted to. And, you know, they're playing the final countdown again for Danielson on pay-per-view. I guess there's another couple of $100,000. And by the way, I appreciate also the person who brought the sign that says Mama Cornette says the White Sox are greater than Jack Perry.
The White Sox are having one of the all-time worst, if not the all-time worst seasons of any team in baseball history.
Well, but they're still better than Jack Perry.
That's what makes it amazing. 2 shows in a row, 2 different companies, Mama Cornette signs.
But the crowd yesed Bryan Danielson all over the place, and they loved him. And he's wrestling Jack Perry. It's, you know, this is not really going to add anything to the bottom line. Possibly we could have got MJF and Danielson rematched again, and that might have actually been interesting. But nevertheless, Danielson is at a level above everybody else that's pretty much been on the show, maybe except MJF. But even him with smoothness and the way that he moves and just connecting with the people personality-wise. And also, Danielson, for the most part, will call a wrestling match, and it'll make sense, although he will take and, you know, give bumps that shouldn't be taken or given. But for the most part, it's a wrestling match. So that meant that Jack Perry was saved from his worst instincts, like some of these other assholes need to be. And, you know, he is an obnoxious little fuck as a heel. You want to slap that face. His punches are the shits, but he can do some of the moves. If he was working like, I'm talking about Perry now, if he was working like Dominic Mysterio, it would work as a heel. The chicken shit, the fucking shit disturber, somewhat of a coward. He doesn't go toe-to-toe with the big star baby faces, but he cheats and gets from behind or has help. Perry could get heat that way. But he's trying to be a badass. Remember, he's the one that didn't quit when they were going to fucking set him on fire. One of the other lollipoppers quit for him.
One of the other heels.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in this match, he was trying to act like he was a badass at points, and it's just ludicrous. He's a child. But they don't, we've said this a million times, none of these guys, that California contingent, they've created and Tony fits this as a booker, not a wrestler. They've created personalities for themselves in their minds, and that's who they want to be. And they don't acknowledge that they don't look like that, and they can't work like that, and they don't come off like that they're just playing a part like that. Not everybody can be the goddamn Rambo, right? Somebody has to be Barney fucking Fife, but he made money too. But they can't accept the reality and work like they come off. So instead, they create this fantasy world for themselves. And some of these fucking virgins that, you know, love the video game matches, they get into it. But the average person is like, who are these fucking children on my television? So anyway, Danielson looks great. Finally, they're cooking. Perry pulled at one point the referee into Danielson's drop kick, and so the referee is down. And then that's when Maddie and Nikki hit the ring and they jumped Danielson, and they took their time with some phony looking heat while the referee has to lay there with, did you see his head under his arm? Again, when you bump the referee, the clock is ticking. This is what we used to teach in wrestling school in OVW. The clock is ticking. You get in, you do your damage, and you get out, because if it's real, you don't know how long the referee's going to be down. You assume that he might get up and see you at any second. So you get in and try to do what you're going to do as quick as possible and then bail, right? But they're taking their time, and they're hot dogging Maddie and Nikki because they think that they're fucking wrestlers, and they get some phony looking shit. The most careful Meltzer driver in the history of Meltzer drivers. Did you see that one?
Well, now they call it the TK driver.
Well, it ought to call the fan driver offer, but they didn't want to hurt Danielson, so they were very careful with that. And then Claudio and Useless come out and chase him off. And then Perry hits a knee and gets a 2 count. And I said, good Lord, we're 20 minutes in. And they do the interference in the middle of the match, and then they fucking go on, and they lose all the momentum. And boom, they went back and forth for another 10 minutes or whatever. And then finally, as I mentioned, he thinks he's a badass of some kind, the scapegoat. And his friends pump him up. Yeah, you look tough, you little fucking midget. You look like a goddamn emaciated amoeba. Danielson is stomping Perry over and over and gets set for the fucking knee finally. And Perry sits up and just dares Danielson to do his big knee. So he does. Boom, 1, 2, 3. The fuck? Is he supposed to be a tough guy in their minds because nobody's seeing that? Because it's ridiculous. And that was, you're trying to get heat as a little weaselly heel, but yet you're daring the fucking guy to hit you with the thing that ends up beating you. So you're not only you're a moron, but also that's not a heelish thing to do. You see what I'm saying, Brian? What sense does this make?
It's just like the War Games match. Is it a heel thing for one of them to be chained up and one of his friends says, please don't burn my friend? And the guy's such a badass that he says, burn me, I don't care, I won't give up.
I'll be back bigger and better than ever after I get out of the burn unit.
Like you said, coming out of the Punk stuff, if Jack Perry had come back as a chicken shit heel with a valet, he would have been better off than he is, whatever he's doing here that him and the Bucks think is good. And that Tony thinks is
good. Go Hollywood, the son of a Hollywood star that has no talent on his own, but he's got money and fucking women want to be around him because he's on TV. That kind of guy gets heat, and he fits it.
He's in a title match. If he had that belt around his waist, it would fall down to his fucking feet.
Now, come on, that's a ridiculous exaggeration. There's no way he could ever hold that belt up to get it around his waist.
Did you see the spot where there was a roll-up and the referee was counting, and before 3, he actually pushed Jack Perry's foot?
Yes.
Was it Rensburg?
Yeah, I think it was. And I've never seen that before, and I don't know if it was just a brain fart on behalf of the referee to just do something like that, or if it was the referee realized maybe as he was counting 2 that Perry might have thought it was 1 or didn't know, or because I don't know what, but yeah, 1, 2, push the guy's leg to get him to kick out and then and hold up to 3. What I don't know. I've never seen that one before. Anyway, after about 30 minutes of this goddamn thing, and then Danielson is celebrating. And then suddenly here comes Dino Douche into the ring and nails Danielson. And Dino and Perry look at each other, and the announcers talk about, oh, they used to be the partners, the Jurassic Express. And then Christian Cage's music plays.
And by the way, that was an interesting moment there. Because the confrontation between the former Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, and then Christian's music hits, and Jack Perry kind of flinches, you forget he was a babyface against Christian.
Yes.
So now the heel, who just acted like a babyface in so many ways, is going to leave before the bad heel gets there.
Well, it's like the little heel's big brother, the even worse heel. Cage came out with Nick Plain and Nick Plain's mom. She is taller than the dinosaur. Did you see that?
See, that's the problem. When they got confronted, I was like, man, she could take Moxley.
Well, and that's the thing. When she's the biggest person in the group, including Christian. And when she was standing next to fucking Dino, she's tall as he is. But then as Christian is coming out because he's going to cash in the contract that he won, whatever their ripoff is, generic version of Money in the Bank. But suddenly, Moxley is in their way with his back to the ring, and here comes Pac and Claudio and Useless, and they join, and Cage and crew then back off, like, okay, because now, we'll pick a different time. And then the plumber and all of his stooges get in the ring, and Moxley hugs Danielson and kisses him. There's a lot of male-to-male kissing going on, much more than there is on the usual wrestling program. I don't know why everyone is kissing everyone suddenly. But then the other three hold Danielson's arm up and celebrate with him, and then Claudio hits Danielson with the European uppercut. Oh, God.
At least that one looked like it almost hit, because Claudio earlier in the Bucks match was basically just running around touching everyone's cheek on his breast. It looks so weak and so awful, and he's been doing that a lot lately. Just these lazy-looking, garbage fucking European
He
uppercuts.
don't want to hurt any of these guys because they're his bosses. They'll fire him for a potato in them. And so the BBC has acted like heels anyway. Now apparently many of them are heels because everybody goes, oh my God, why'd he do that? And then Pac is holding on to old Wheeler from helping because Wheeler is, well, you can see it on his face. He's like, why are you doing that? And he's reaching out with one arm. Pac is holding him. Now Wheeler is not saying, you better let me go, you British motherfucker. I'm going to kick you in the dick. He's just reaching over him going, no, don't do it, while he makes absolutely no effort to get away from this fucking guy. And Moxley pulls a plastic bag out. And actually it's kind of bad because it wasn't even one of the good, like grocery store plastic bags that you can't tear those son of, they ought to make airline fucking hulls out of those things. You can't tear them, but instead is one of like those dry cleaner bags that you can just peel off with a finger. And they put it over Danielson's head, and he begins to suffocate. And the fans start chanting, this is murder. This is murder. Because it's all a joke to them, because they don't believe anything, because it's all so preposterous.
But it's not like they were screaming. That's the other thing. I don't think the reaction was what they intended.
No, they weren't screaming at all. They were just, oh, it'd be funny if we chanted, this is murder, because last week it was, this is arson. At least they're going up. They're going from arson to murder instead of backing up. But it means nothing. They weren't worried about Danielson. They were worried about coming up with a clever chant, because it's all bullshit. They know it. They can tell. So anyway, then Danielson passed out, and the heels left, and Useless stayed to help the doctor give Danielson oxygen. And then one of Excalibur's quotes was, well, that ends the sanctioned part of our program, and now the unsanctioned cage match is coming. So the attempted murder is part of the sanctioned programming, but the cage match, which will involve cinder blocks and potentially AIDS-infected hypodermic needles, that's unsanctioned.
He had said they show the desk, and Excalibur says, the AEW medical team, the best in the business. And then they shoot to them, and they're dragging Bryan Danielson out of the ring. He's not on anything. They're just holding him and like dragging him out of the ring while he's getting oxygen. That's how the best medical team is prepared and what they do. This guy almost died. Drag him out. Drag him out.
Yeah. We're running along on time.
You know,
and go ahead.
Well, I'm just going to, we'll talk more about this, but, the one thing a lot of people are pointing to, something you were on the booking committee for, the Terry Funk, Ric Flair plastic bag thing. And before you comment anything about that, and obviously that was a step too far, certainly for 1989 and Turner Broadcasting, the people who say you don't know, because I saw people arguing on the internet with people who said this was a step too far. They go, well, Terry Funk did it. You didn't have a problem. No one complained about that. That's what I saw someone say. Terry Funk did it, and nobody complained about that.
Everybody well, a lot of people complained about that, but one of the complaints came from Turner fucking Broadcasting. I reprinted the memo in the Midnight Express scrapbook. I was on the creative team at the time. It was Clash of Champions. It was, oh, God damn it, I helped write the show, and now I can't. The match was Muta and Funk in a tag match against,
Muta and Slater against.
Muta and Slater.
Yeah, and then Funk came in as a surprise.
That's right. Muta and Slater against Flair and
Sting.
And then Funk came in as a surprise and put the plastic bag over Flair's head and tried to suffocate him. That was not original, by the way. It's an old wrestling angle. It was done in a variety of the territories, so we're not claiming any origination here, but the point is that was a Clash of Champions that in the 2.5-hour show, that was the end of the main event, and that was the only angle that had been shot, as I recall, on the program. They were matches that had been built up and had them, and some of the baby faces won, and some of the heels won, but nobody else tried to commit attempted murder besides Funk on the program, and that's what got all the attention. And the people believed it because they not only weren't smart as they are now, but also because of Terry Funk and his aura and whatever. And the programming executives, hold on here one second. I just happened to grip a copy of the Midnight Express scrapbook, and I'm going to flip to the page in which I reprinted the letter. It's my book, and I still can't remember what goddamn page it was on. This memo from Superstation TBS from Bob Levi and Jeff Carr. Jeff Carr was the programming guy, to Jack Petrick and Jim Hurd. October 6, 1989, which was the day after, I believe, that incident happened, or 2 days after, whatever. TBS continues to maintain an all-family programming strategy. This philosophy extends through all day parts and categories. The TBS wrestling programs and promos must be consistent with our on-air standards. Programs or promos which do not adhere to these standards must be edited or removed from the schedule, which was their nice way of saying you want to get fucking canceled. And they own the goddamn thing. So here were the guidelines. No blood is to be allowed. Any accidental bleeding that occurs in a live performance will be covered by wide shots, and replays must be edited or removed from the program. Gratuitously violent and sadistic acts to people and or animals are to be excluded from TBS broadcasts. Examples include use of a plastic bag to smother a person, lighting someone on fire from Kevin Sullivan's Fireballs. Not even actually lighting someone on fire. A blunt instrument being used repeatedly with the intent of breaking an arm, leg, etc. Incessant kicking or beating of an individual. Violent and sadistic verbal threats are unacceptable. We do not allow use of profanity or religious slurs. References made to drug and alcohol use are not allowed unless it is designed to educate and inform viewers in a positive manner. And also, attire may be provocative and entertaining, but not be either lewd or abusive in design.
AEW's violated every single one of those things.
Every goddamn one on the same network. And the network puts up with it until they don't. And then they don't. And people changing their jobs and positions has effect on that.
People are using the Terry Funk incident to justify it being done here. What are your thoughts? I didn't think this was I guess it's supposed to make you uncomfortable, but it was pretty uncomfortable and seemingly ridiculous. No one ran out to help anyone.
Well, again, see, that's all it's context and the way it's done and the venue in which it's done. Back then, when they had that Clash of Champions was viewed by what was the Clash doing in those days? 3 million, 4 million people, and it was the only angle, so it got all the attention. TBS was upset. I loved it. Flair loved it because it got heat on Terry Funk and people wanted to see the shit. And that was where we'll ask for forgiveness instead of permission. But we weren't doing shit like that every week. People weren't bleeding every week. People weren't being paralyzed and beaten and mugged and thrown into wood chippers every fucking show multiple times. And so there was a bigger element of belief to it. In this, and also you already knew that that Funk hated Flair. And they come out and with no public fucking word amongst them, just Moxley starts coming out and even the announcers go, we don't understand what the fuck's happened to Moxley. And they just decide we're going to turn on Bryan Danielson and try to kill him, even though he was in our group until a few weeks ago when whatever. And then it was after the girls were giving each other goddamn concussions. The fucking guys were goddamn trying to kill each other. Everybody was going through fucking furniture. And it's not even over yet. And they do this. It's just insane. It gets lost. It means nothing. These fans are laughing at it because they don't buy any of this shit. This is all the wrong reasons and all the wrong context and all the wrong times to do the wrong things. And they're trying to get their goddamn deal renewed with the network. Yes, this was pay-per-view. They gonna be able to show any of this shit on television? If you do something and you can't show it on TV, what the fuck good is it?
Yeah, imagine if a couple executives said, hey, let's check out the last couple matches at a pay-per-view before we sign this deal.
Which apparently they have a piece of, right? We've deduced that from what Tony has said before. So they, in effect, are financially connected to a pay-per-view that had not only attempted murder, but people shoving needles in each other's faces.
Well, on the bright side, Moxley looks like he's gotten himself into pretty good shape with his time off. And, what's more badass than getting on the gas?
Well, they don't let a lot of those fucking calories and things, go into those type of places. They're on strict lockdown.
Well, I don't know about that, but I
thought he went to the fat farm.
He definitely, I don't think that's what it was, but he definitely looks like, at least in his arms and his shoulders and his back, he's changed his workout regimen.
He got a heavier fucking monkey wrench. Now, whenever he's working on those pipes, he's lifting more weight.
You mentioned it before. We heard MJF will be taking time off. Swerve Strickland apparently taking time off. Does this mean Danielson's taking? I mean, how long are you out after you were almost suffocated?
About 10 minutes.
Okay.
About 10 minutes. Yeah, you wake up pretty much after that. No, we won't even talk about Swerve for a second, but anyway, that was the Danielson angle. It's a great angle if it's done by the right people at the right time to get people to want to see a match. But what is the fucking match here? Moxley and Danielson? Okay, why did he do this to? We're going to need more explanation. And why is Moxley quoting Nazis from a 30-year-old indie movie?
For the rumors about me having a skinhead group, it's not true. Meet my new member, Claudio.
But wait, Claudio's Swiss. He's neutral.
No, but he's, I'm just talking about his bald head. No, it's, we'll see where it goes. The Moxley Marina Shafir thing has been self-indulgent crap so far. Just Moxley wanting to look like a badass while Marina Shafir beats up all the people that just run at her for no reason, like she's Bruce Lee. And now he's going to have Claudio, who, I'm sorry, Claudio bores the shit out of me at this point in his career. And Pac, who will be here until his fucking green card issues pop up again. And now we're going to have MJF off TV and Swerve off TV?
Oh, boy.
We are a Will Ospreay injury away from complete disaster.
They better wrap him in bubble wrap.